is Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Powered by Swiftex. Where can crypto take you?
Hi, it's Chris Titley here from Scoreboard. We're sitting here on Tuesday, the 6th of January, with the first podcast of 2026. And I'm joined in person by Sam Heazlett. Sam, thank you so much for coming in and being episode number 150, but also number one for 2026.
Thanks, Chris. Good to be here. Nice and close to home, so easy.
Oh, yes. No, excellent, mate. We're 6 days in. Let's talk about your 2026 so far and also 2025, how it was for you.
Yeah, 2026 so far, pretty normal. It's nice and warm outside. I'm outside a lot, training for cricket, coaching cricket. But it's nice to be home around this period of year. I guess in the past, I've had seasons of Big Bash where traveling a lot during the summer, not home a lot over the Christmas period. But it's nice to be here for a couple of weeks over this time of year. My family and my wife's family love Christmas and really get into it. So to be a part of it is good. And I've got a young baby boy too, so to spend some time with him is really good.
Mate, excellent. And how old's the baby boy?
Nearly 11 months now, so he's
okay.
Getting there. He's motivated to move around. He's always on the move, running and throwing things and making a mess. So got to keep our eye on him. He's pretty reckless, but it's good.
There you go. I'm going to ask you a question about that. The idea of him becoming a professional cricketer. Would you recommend or not?
I think professional sport's great to be a part of. So definitely anyone that gets the opportunity, I think it's an amazing lifestyle to live and experiences to have. I wouldn't recommend people to set their mind on only that being the path that they're going to follow and that it's going to happen. There's a lot of great sports people, a lot of great cricketers out there that work extremely hard and couldn't really do too much more and unfortunately don't quite get the opportunity for whatever reason. So there's certainly a lot of other things to life that are probably more important and you need to have as well. But if you can do it, it's definitely worth the hard work. It's worth the sacrifice if you can get there.
And the weekend's playing grade cricket now. As a parent, has perspective changed a little bit from when you were a bit younger, when Saturday nights were easy to maybe go out for dinner or play cricket all weekend, but now there's a little bit of responsibility?
Yeah, for sure. Cricket's a sport that takes up a lot of time. So as a parent too, it's not like I would be pushing my child into cricket and saying, you have to be a cricketer. I'm definitely happy for him to play any sport that he wants, especially with the fact that cricket takes up a lot of time. But yeah, sport's a good thing to be a part of. So any sport, being involved, being fit and healthy, being part of a team environment, making those connections is great. The time thing for me changes a bit now. It's nice to be home and your priorities change a little bit, but I've got an understanding wife and we try and make things work. So we still have our own things we get to enjoy. We still get to see our friends and have our own hobbies and make sure we're not all consumed by these new adult responsibilities.
Yes, indeed. Mate, your relationship with cricket, I'm keen to hear how that's evolved over time and the ebbs and flows and where you're at now.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot over the years. I feel like I am getting a little bit older now in the sporting landscape.
Baby, but you're not old. You're not 30, mate.
Yeah, I still feel young when I'm playing. I still feel, maybe not physically, body-wise, but mentally, I feel like I'm still one of those younger players running around until I realise that actually I'm one of the oldest in each team I play in. But yeah, things have definitely changed, and for the better, but also I don't, regret going about it the way I did ever in the past. It got me to where I was and gave me the opportunities that I did. I was very competitive and put a lot of pressure on myself to perform because I wanted to win. I wanted to do well. I wanted to have success, and that was a good thing. But it made me also quite nervous, and definitely don't enjoy that feeling of having the butterflies in my stomach and not being able to sleep too well the night before and not being able to eat a lot of food on game day because just feel a bit uneasy about it. But it means it matters to me, I guess, and I care about it, which I do. I guess I've been a bit more relaxed for a while now with my approach and realizing that next day isn't the most important thing that could ever happen. There's so many uncontrollables, and I'll have a plan and try and stick to it and go about it the way I think is going to work. But it might not. I might have a good day. I might not have a good day, and that's okay. But I try and stick to that same process, or a nice, even level mindset over a long period of time, and I'll have good outcomes overall if I stick to that. So, not trying to put too much pressure on myself for that one moment in time. And I think that's for all areas of life too. It's made me realize that for a lot of things, like whether it's study. I used to be so nervous coming into exams and like staying up all night studying and trying to cram everything in last minute when I could. And I've got back to sort of just trusting myself now, and like trusting that I've done the work and that um, I have put in the hours, because I have. I try and manage my time well to do the study early on in the semester, so that I am ahead of things, and just go like, hey, I don't need to get 100% in this exam tomorrow. I'm not going to anyway, no matter how much I study. So it does relate to sport, but in the same way. But it's important that I get my sleep. It's important that I'm relaxed and letting my brain do its thing, and instead of trying to get in its own way. And that relaxed approach has been really good, and hasn't been any negative effects from it. So yeah.
I'm curious as a batter with the different games and different formats, etc., changing around the place. And when I was growing up, you got out, you waited a week, and you batted again or whatever it might be. But now with the BBL and a few different things floating around, you can kind of get your next opportunity maybe within the week or a few days' time, etc. I'm curious, how has that changed your mentality to batting at all?
Not a whole lot. Prepare a similar way, but within mind that I've got different formats coming up. I can't just prepare for red ball cricket or just for T20 cricket, because I might have red ball cricket at that time of year in first grade, but then at any stage you could get a replacement player deal in the Big Bash and have to play in 2 days' time in a T20 game, or I'm traveling around a little bit now for overseas T20, T10 comps, and have to be preparing for that as well. At the end of the day, the basics are the same. I still do a lot of work on getting in good positions, creating good habits, doing the basics well from a batting technical standpoint, and so that it does just happen the way I want it to in a game. But it's just about adjusting your mindset, adjusting your tempo and your energy and your intent in the middle. So hopefully you react the way you want to react in the moment. But other than that, things don't really change too much. It's nice to have the variation. I find it a lot easier going from white ball cricket to red ball, and just being able to drop the tempo a little bit and have more time and be more relaxed out there, instead of having the pressure to have to score, then go the other way around. If I feel like I've been practicing blocking and leaving and defending and been doing it for long hours in games, it's a bit more tough to go the other way and trying to lift the tempo and trying to play more shots. I find, from my point of view, other people probably are different, but that's just me.
No, I'm curious on that. The default, where you train with the white, go to the red.
Yeah.
Like that's probably a new thing, but is that something which you think the kids are maybe 15 onwards now are doing? Like maybe that's the default is to score and be aggressive as fast as you can, and then you go into a 50 over game at that age, or a grade game, etc. And it's like, oh well, this is good. I can let a few go, and so I'm nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel. I think I don't like to leave many balls at training, or I'll defend a few, but I'm always looking to score. I'm always looking, can I get in a good position to score runs off this ball without taking too much of a risk? And I think that's how I get better. I'm happy to make mistakes. I'm happy to get out if it happens. But especially when you're training on synthetic wickets or that don't do a whole lot, there's not really much reason why you can't score off each given ball if you're good enough, realistically. And in a game, I don't find it too difficult in dropping that tempo and being able to leave and defend instead of driving on the up. But I think it's good to improve your skills of being able to do that. And, there's a lot of chat these days about how 2020 cricket is ruining batters' techniques and how it's affecting the score lines in Test cricket for the worse. A lot of people are saying that. I'm certainly not in that belief. I think batters are just improving their skills really, and bowlers are too. Bowlers are getting much better as well, and
Yeah, you got to think of the other side of the ledger too. Like the bowlers have to change and adapt and whatnot to maybe the person not leaving as much.
yeah, and the batters do work really hard on their technique. The professional cricketers, they spend a lot of time doing that day in day out anyway. And for me, going back watching cricket from 20, 40 years ago, watching highlights or whatever it might be, and comparing it to these days, I personally don't think the technique is worse. I think they were great cricketers back there. They had good skill sets. They had different skill sets. They trained differently and had a different approach. But I don't think there's been a negative effect in that regard. There's a different, batters probably play more aggressively and they play more shots as we've seen. But I think that a lot of the times, even in the current Ashes series, if they were to defend, they'd be playing and missing. They'd be nicking balls anyway. So I don't think it's a terrible option to be trying to score while you can, because you play the line. There's plenty nibbling off the seam. The bowlers are so good at getting that wobble seam to nip either way, and you just can't react to that. And you just, if you're defending, you're going to nick it, even if your technique is perfect every now and then on some of these wickets. So. Yeah.
Your thought? I mean, looking at the Ashes, still going down. Travis Head just got 100 again. Like Travis Head versus Joe Root. Is that the kind of like the evolution of where cricket's going? Like like two different batters, but exceptional eye, exceptional skill.
Yeah.
Not really playing Joe Root, not playing 2020. You could argue that Travis Head's not really playing 2020, but there's a bit more David Warnerish, etc. Like the thoughts on the Ashes series so far and the players?
Yeah, very different cricketers for sure. Joe Root's an incredible cricketer, gets in really good positions, keeps the odds in his favour, I guess, plays the percentage game really nicely, but still scores at a great rate because of it. Because he gets in such good positions, he can score off most balls, he can rotate the strike off the good balls and still put the bad balls away. So he's very impressive. Travis Head, definitely, you'd look at him and a lot of people would say, gee, he doesn't have a great textbook technique. He doesn't get his bat next to his pad a whole lot of the time and get his head over the ball as much and those sort of things. But he's found a way that's worked well for him. He's found an approach and a process which he knows gets him good outcomes more often than not. And that's the most important thing. His basics are still really good though. His contact point is elite. Like he's so late with the contact under his eyes. And his ability to commit when it's over pitched or when it gets width, but still defend when it's hitting on top of the stumps is really impressive. So I think that just proves that it's not necessarily textbook technique that gets you the outcome, but it's having the right mindset. It's being able to control that mindset in the moment to get the outcome you're after.
And your technique in between Travis Head and Joe Root, where do you sit in terms of how you would describe yourself as a batter?
Yeah, not technically perfect necessarily. I think it changes a lot from red ball cricket to white ball cricket in terms of wanting to get closer to the ball. I still want to get my head and shoulder moving to the line when it's outside off in red ball cricket and hold my shape with my check drives through cover. When in white ball cricket, I'm happy to give myself a bit more room and not get my foot to the ball as much and hit the ball squarer without showing as much of the full face, because that's where you get more reward. If you go square of the wicket, the white ball might not move quite as much, especially after you've got past those first 10 overs or so. You still like I like one day cricket because you need a bit of everything. If you're opening the batting, you need to be able to get through that tough period at the start, and then when it gets easier to bat, you've got to be able to be aggressive and play your shot. So I like working on all those aspects and being able to try and change my game when it's required.
You spoke about being nervous. What was the most nervous innings you've ever batted beforehand, you reckon, or during?
Definitely the most nervous I've been before going out to bat was in my one-day international debut for Australia in New Zealand. The good thing was I wasn't nervous the night before or even the morning of, because I wasn't supposed to be playing in that game. I was there in the squad, but just running drinks. And then just before the toss, Matt Wade had a back spasm or some sort of back injury, I believe, in the warm-up. And I was brought into the team at the toss. Peter Hanscom went to keeper, I think. And Darren Lehman said, well, you're in the team, you're batting 6. And just like, I guess batting at 6, he thought I was going to come in at the death in a one-dayer and have to try and whack a few at the end like I had been in Big Bash recently, but didn't quite end up that way when we were sort of 4 for 40 odd in that game. But But yeah, I wasn't nervous leading up to it. But then when I was sitting, waiting, watching everyone else bat before me, probably also with them getting out, I got so nervous. My heart was beating. I was shaking. I was sweating a lot. So that was a very nervous time.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine. So you've been given the yes, and then you're right. Okay, I don't need to put the pads on. All of a sudden, you're putting the pads on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're out there. Was the whole thing a bit of a blur, or do you remember each ball, or the first ball, or like what was the?
No, definitely a blur. But I'm not a very good rememberer of cricket anyway. Like I look back on a lot of my innings or games, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I hear cricketers reminisce on games they've played and what the score was and what the date was and when premierships were won and who they were playing against. And I don't remember any of that stuff. I'm terrible with my memory of those occasions. So a lot of it feels like a blur, but I think especially that moment, my head was definitely in the clouds and spinning a little bit. And they were a very good bowling attack, New Zealand too. I remember facing Mitch Santner, who's quite an accurate spin bowler, and at Eden Park, they're very short, straight boundaries. So in a lot of situations, I would love to run down to the left arm offie and try and hit him back over his head for 6 to the short boundary. But when we were 4 for 45 or something, it probably wasn't the smartest idea to do in front of
you're not Harry Brooking it.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people on TV. Not that should really change, to be honest, the way you go about it, necessarily the situation or how many people are watching. But, I think in the moment I didn't want to look bad and do the wrong thing. So I probably was too tentative and too cautious, and I got a bit locked up and stiff. And then, Lockie Ferguson was bowling quick. He felt like he was bowling 180 Ks an hour, even though he wasn't, but he felt quick. I usually a nice puller of the ball. I love the game the short ball, but plenty of balls got on me quick and hit the stickers and rolled back to him as the bowler. So I was a bit late on a few of those, but yeah, it was great to be a part of.
Mate, absolutely. What a great experience and one to look back and tell your kids about as well in terms of playing cricket for Australia, the dream come true. Now, you said you're not very good with stats, but I've got your play cricket stats up here. There's surely some questions that you might know in the play cricket. No, you should have the whole play cricket since inception, I'd imagine. I think it's been around for like 20 years maybe.
Probably, yeah.
I tried my innings in 2001 in second grade against Norths. Didn't come up, but in 2020, I think it was 2003, it sort of started. So you're old enough. Your highest score?
I actually don't know what it is on play cricket because my highest score isn't on there, funnily enough. My highest score, I was playing a game for like a Queensland Invitational 11 against an Indian provincial side, Madhya Pradesh. They were travelling over here in their off season or something, and we played in Mackay actually, and played a 2-day game, a red ball game against them, and I got 232 opening the batting in that game, and that's my highest score, even though probably not an official game on play cricket as such, but it was against a pretty good attack and for a Queensland Invitational sort of 11, playing with Jimmy Pearson and Jason Flores and a few other guys. I was quite young at the time when those guys Flores was still playing and whatever, but that's the highest I remember. Maybe it's like 170 odd.
170 on the dot, mate.
Yeah,
well done. Yeah, so 200 in your life, and that was it.
Yeah, that was the one. So
how at the end of it? A little bit knackered, or you reckon you could have gone like you're disappointed? You could have gone 300.
I was definitely tired. Up in Mackay, I was probably pretty hot up there at the time as well, but. I did it at a decent rate. I think close to a run a ball by the end of the innings. So I wasn't out there for. I've had longer innings, balls faced wise, but that's the highest runs scored.
On play cricket, there's an interesting question. It might be a trick question, might not be. The number of ducks that you've got.
Yeah, I've got no idea on that. I can guess.
No, but well, I was going to finish the question, but you can guess that as well.
Oh, right.
Versus the number of hundreds that you've got.
Oh, okay.
What is higher?
It would be close. I'm going to say just ducks.
So ducks comes in at 39. This is 100. You've had 560 matches, by the way.
That's a fair few.
39 ducks, 4,300.
Oh, right. The ledger's just in
so
my
the hundreds
favour.
and the 50s are at 84. And the not outs are at 66. And the strike rate, I don't know how they kept the strike, 87 points. So it's about right, isn't it? 87?
There's some motivation to get off the mark each game. But strike rate I don't think is as accurate because I'm not sure some games they get the balls faced correct or do it properly.
Maybe the technology wasn't, strike rate wasn't put in. But it says you've got 17,884 runs.
That's nice.
That's
nice
a lot
to
of
think
runs.
about.
Yeah.
I've played a lot of cricket now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
That's from junior level, I'd imagine, as well. I don't know when it
Yeah.
dates back. Actually, I can see when it dates back. The first season, winter 2008. Actually, I'm going to go on this live. Winter 2008.
I probably averaged about 8 that season, I reckon.
Well, you played 7 matches and you got 150 runs. So that was probably about, not so good there. But anyway,
I had some very good and bad seasons in junior cricket. I had some junior seasons where I scored nearly no runs, and then I had some junior seasons where, I felt like every game I nearly scored a 50 or more. So
there you go. Bit of play cricket stuff. Now, off the field, we were talking prior to this podcast that you have done lots of podcasts before, and you were a podcaster in the We Got the Chocolates. Early on. You want to tell us a little bit of story about how that, I suppose, eventuated at your early interviews behind the mic, some interesting interviews that you did, and obviously the boys now going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I guess I was a natural public speaker, definitely not. When I was at school, I was a pretty shy, quiet guy and didn't like to get up in front and do speeches in class for English class or anything like that. I wasn't great at it, but more and more, I think I've got some confidence from being in the spotlight a bit and playing cricket and getting interviewed on TV and having to put myself out there a little bit. And being in podcasts is a little bit more relaxing because there's not massive crowds in front of you, even though you might have a few people listen in their car while they're driving or whatever they're doing.
Hopefully more than a few. But anyway, we'll see how we go with this one.
You don't really think about it when there's two or three of us in the room. So,
that's right. Yeah.
So that was nice. But I really enjoyed that. I still do play club cricket with Lee and Mitch at Redlands, and I didn't do the first couple of episodes with them, but from then on they got me involved and was part of well over 100 episodes with We Got the Chocolates then, and saw it from very early days to where it grew to being massive, and now they've got a huge following on social media and lots of podcast followers. They're doing live events and emceeing a lot of things. So Lee is extremely talented and witty and funny, and he's a complete natural and that sort of thing. So it's great to see him have success and the boys take it full time and just going from strength to strength with what they're doing.
Mate, absolutely. He'll get a tag on that little clip of video you just said then with some dirt on the boys. Have they got some secrets there?
I think they're pretty clean cut, really.
I'm looking for a collaboration to boost my podcast on Instagram. So you need to say something a bit funny or quirky to kind of make it happen.
You put me on the spot here.
They're pretty dry, aren't they? They do those jokes, those name jokes and things all the time. They're pretty funny, aren't they?
The dad jokes are great.
Yeah, the dad jokes. Well, you're a dad now. You can be part of the club.
I don't think they liked me in those dad jokes videos because I took it very seriously, and being the competitor that I was, it was like a no laugh challenge. You lose a point if you laughed. So I was going into it being like, all right, practice my straight face. Don't laugh. And I did well in that regard, but it didn't make for very good social media videos. You actually wanted the video with someone laughing.
Yeah, or doing
the reaction you wanted was that, so that you would get the views. And so I probably didn't fit the bill very well for them in that regard. Maybe that's why I haven't had the invitation back very much recently.
So the early media career of starting a podcast and getting on doing some interviews, other things outside of cricket, what are you doing now in regards to maybe thinking about the future in 5 or 10 years' time when maybe the 2020 stuff's not available to you?
Yeah, probably too much. I do too many things, I reckon my family would say, my wife would say, but I say yes to whatever I can. I finished a Bachelor of Exercise Science, then I did a Bachelor of Physiotherapy, so I'm a qualified physio now. So I do see people week to week, a few people here and there, mostly young cricketers who want some help with an injury or rehab or strength and conditioning work to be well fitted to their discipline, which is great. I enjoy that. I do a lot of cricket coaching through my business, Perform Cricket, and have other coaches that work with me, and we try and create a really good system for young players to improve their skills and try and pass on as much knowledge as I can from what I've learned over the years. And I've had some great coaches that I've learnt off, but I guess there's always lots of things you wish you'd known and heard when you were younger that I try and pass on. And yeah, I'm doing a master's in applied finance, which is very different as well. Don't know where that'll take me, but I guess I just like learning. I like gaining knowledge in different areas, and I don't like wasting my time. I don't like just sitting at home and watching TV or doing nothing. So that keeps me busy. I do like have some hobbies, like I like surfing. I've surfed a lot over the years. I like playing golf. I play a lot of board games, which is a funny one, but I like the strategy behind board games and that sort of thing.
You play chess?
I actually don't play. Well, I know how to play chess,
Yeah,
but
but not
I'm very poor at chess. I don't know the proper gambits or whatever. And
Yeah, neither do I. My son's
tactics.
really good at it too, but it's obviously a good habit to have. Was there some players along the way that played chess and they were actually really good cricketers? Or was it sort of
I don't
like,
know many.
or a particular board game that they were really good at and became a good cricketers? Maybe as a blueprint there.
There probably was good chess players, but they probably didn't tell anyone because they didn't want to get laughed at for being a chess.
Well, you're going to Marnus at chess. You're going to be all right.
No, I don't think Marnus would go well at all at chess, but I could be wrong. I don't think that's his game, but yeah, I'm more of like the resource building strategy, where to place your buildings and tiles and stuff. That sort of strategy board game. That's more me.
What about computer games like the Legends of Zelda and all these things growing up, like the strategy stuff? Did you get in front of the screens a little bit?
I didn't a lot. I didn't play a whole lot of PlayStation or computer games. A little bit, even like the car racing sort of things. I enjoyed that, but yeah, it wasn't. I was outdoors a lot of the times playing different sports and didn't have enough time.
Outdoors, you physio, you're coaching, you spend a lot of time outdoors, you keep yourself very fit. Obviously, there's a connection to sport. How important is sport, broadly speaking, to a nation, to you, to everything in terms of mental health?
Oh, extremely important. Yeah, the benefits of being active is, really well known now. Doesn't mean it's easy to follow when you live in a place where it is hot. I understand why it's hard to find the motivation. It's so good being a professional athlete because you have to be there. You have to be training, going to gym, doing your running, and it's a blessing because it's so hard to find the motivation to do it in your own time. And it's tough for professional cricketers who are on the T20 circuit full time going around the world because they don't have that backing from a strength and conditioning coach to force them, I say, but like motivate them to do that work. And it's hard to stay fit and healthy. And I think you see a lot of them get injured these days because they haven't built that resilience in their body and don't have the fitness and the strength base they used to, maybe. But yeah, it's so important to be outside in the sun.
And to be and that connection as well with a team sport as well as an individual player, but you're part of a team and getting that family and friends, and the amount of friends you met through cricket, I imagine, would be life-changing for you.
Yeah, extremely lucky to have met the people that I have and have those connections. It's hard to keep in contact with all of them, but even from a study standpoint, when I was doing my physiotherapy, it took me 12 years or something of study to finish the double degree that I was doing. But the blessing in disguise was that, like, because I was doing part-time, every year I would be with a new cohort of students that were studying, and I'd meet new people, and I loved that. It was tough walking in day one and having to do hands-on treatment with someone that you'd met for the first time when everyone else in the room had known them for 2 years of uni. But it was good. It helped me build my skills of talking to other people, communication skills, and building those relationships. But it's great to have a lot of friends out there.
Mate, we have a little segment on Scoreboard called the Scoreboard Moment, and that's a moment in your life that's so visual, and it's something which you can replay 1,000 times. It's so clear in your head, but from that moment, life kind of changed. I'm curious to know, Sam, what your Scoreboard moment is.
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's lots of moments along the way that have all contributed bit by bit. I guess I was naturally quite talented growing up with sports and wanted to be a professional athlete. Idolized the players, sports people I saw on TV and used to watch a lot of growing up. But thankfully didn't have that I knew that wasn't, overly likely, and had other things that I was doing. But I guess the moment where it all eventually came into fruition was when I was playing for Australian under-19s, played at the WACA against England under-19s, and scored 160 or something at the WACA in a 4-day game there, batting. I think I might have opened that game, or I'm not sure, but I think that game really put my name up in lights a little bit for selectors, and after that game, I was already actually going to go to England. It was the end of the summer, and then that winter I was going to England to play cricket. So play a season over there for Bexley in Kent, which was great.
Oh, the Bexley Cricket Club, a long association with Wests.
Yeah, and Redlands as well.
Yeah.
Where I played.
Of course, yeah. And West and Redlands have an association as well. But, mate, Cricket Week.
Yeah.
Did you play there?
I did, yes.
Oh,
Played,
there you go. I was a spectator in Cricket Week.
Played against Lashings 11, which was pretty cool. But
And the full buffet lunch.
Yeah.
Not the buffet, the gourmet lunch at, a
was cool.
couple of beers, yeah.
But yeah, that
sorry.
I guess all right. I guess that game, scoring those runs, and after that innings, after the game finished, I got a call from the Queensland selector, and he said, well done on the performance against England 19s. Just want to let you know we're giving you a rookie contract for next season. So yeah, they knew that I was going to England, but when you come back, you're going to be with the Queensland squad and on rookie contract, and that was life changing for me. I'd been at uni full time for 2 years before that, so it's training hard in the meantime. But hearing that I was going to be on a full time cricket contract was great, and I guess I didn't expect to play any games anytime soon, being a rookie contracted player, but. Second Shield game of the year, I got called up and told that I was in the team and batting at number 3 and playing against a really strong Tasmanian attack. And then that year I played the rest of the season in Shield cricket and got a Big Bash rookie contract. Didn't expect to play, but again, played again that season in the Big Bash games and played quite a few games that year. And it all happened very quickly. I was fortunate that, from there, a lot of people get their first contract and don't play for 3 or 4 years. And I was able to get some opportunities very early on. So I'm very fortunate.
I'm going to ask a question about the Shield here for a second. Like, all eyes are on the Big Bash and privatisation and private equity and getting lots of cash in for Cricket Australia, etc. But the Sheffield Shield plays this central part in terms of the acceleration into Test cricket or whatever it might be. And broadly speaking, most players that play Test cricket play Shield cricket, to the exception there might be a few that play a handful of Shield games or none, etc. But the future of Sheffield Shield for you, where do you think that sits?
It's a tough question. I think you have to have a competition like that. I understand that Cricket Australia would lose a lot of money running a competition like that. It's expensive to hire those facilities and to have people travelling around the country constantly playing those games in front of very small crowds and no TV revenue coming in from it and that sort of thing. So they're running it at a loss. But if they want to develop high quality cricketers who are ready for Test cricket, they need it. You need to have that high level competition with good players to play against. So it is extremely important to have a high quality Shield competition. I think in the past, you definitely needed that as well, even without people watching and money being filtered into it, because if there was only one team in the country where you could earn a decent living, if it was only the Australian team, a lot of people wouldn't go to cricket. People would be in the southern states, they'd be sticking to AFL if they had the opportunity, or up here with rugby league maybe potentially. But the fact that you've got 6 teams that you can work your way into to earn a living, that's more reason to stay in cricket for those young players. Now we're fortunate to have Big Bash as well, where you can add to that and earn even more as a domestic cricketer. So very fortunate again. But yeah, I think people need to see that pathway. They need to see that I don't have to be in the top 11 players in the country to earn money and make a life out of this. I can have other avenues as well.
That's a good answer. There's 100 odd players that are making a living from Sheffield Shield, and some top it up with Big Bash, others don't, etc. But without that, they're like, no, there's no pathway. I'll be an accountant or go play AFL or whatever it might be.
Yeah, for sure.
Couple of sponsors on Scoreboard. SwiftX, Australia's most trusted cryptocurrency platform, with now over 1.5. We're updating it this year. Was 1.2 million users, now 1.5 million users. A big shout out to SwiftX and the crew for renewing their sponsorship into 2026 as well. And as part of their sponsorship, we run a little segment called the SwiftX Scoreboard Bucket List. And as part of the new, well, not so new campaign, Where Can Crypto Take You? And the bucket list is a sporting event, Sam, that you haven't attended live that you would love to attend.
Yeah, lots. It's hard to narrow it down to one. I think one that's actually quite recent. It doesn't have the history of a lot of the other ones, but I'm a big rugby league fan. I love it. I grew up playing a lot of rugby league, and that was my winter sport. And my dad loves it too. but it would be going to probably Las Vegas and watching
Oh,
the
yeah,
round one of the
yep.
NRL in Las Vegas would be pretty cool, I reckon.
They've done it twice now, going for round 3 again, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no, I think it's been pretty
So,
successful.
round
And
1, but round 3 for round 1.
I think it's been pretty successful for them. And
Yeah.
obviously, if they can get the game to take off a little bit more in
In the US,
America, that would be good for the game.
That's it. Maybe crypto could take you to Las Vegas and watch some rugby league. We've also got another partner in PocketSmith. PocketSmith is the personal finance app for the household CFO, the one keeping the budget in check, paying the bills, and kicking goals. Over 80,000 Aussies use PocketSmith to track their spending, see their net worth, and plan ahead. Thanks to PocketSmith for being part of Scoreboard and as part of their sponsorship with all the money in the business and all that sort of stuff. Sam, I'm curious, are you the CFO of your household? Do you budget?
I would say I'm definitely the CFO. My wife leaves the financial side of things up to me and what we do with the money more so. She does spend a bit of it when she seems to get boxes shipped to our place every day in the mail that she's ordered, but mostly for the baby, which is fine.
Oh, maybe there's a little sneaky one for her, surely.
Yeah, I should do more. I definitely don't write things down and budget it properly. I'm known as being quite strict with my money. The cricket guys would get into me a fair bit for not spending it, try and save where I can. If we're on away trips, I might go to Woolies and get food for the fridge instead of eating all my meals out and stuff like that. So I try and be as smart as I can. I try and invest wisely. I try and spend to my means and what I need instead of necessarily what I always want.
That's tricky, I can tell you.
But I don't write it down. So I probably should have a better system where I budget, where I actually keep a closer look on those things.
There you go. Check out PocketSmith. I use it. You can categorize all your spending, etc. Nice little app. Now, Sam, we'll also ask our guests about their favourite all-time sporting moment, and I preface this that it's not to do with you. It's something you can watch 10,000 times on YouTube and other platforms.
Yeah, tough one again. There's more and more coming into my head as you say it again now. I'm thinking of some cool moments over the years that I've had watching sport, because sport has been my life. I used to watch so much sport growing up as a kid and play a lot. But I think the one that got me the most nervous and that I just loved watching and couldn't wait for it to happen each year was State of Origin, even though it's not one series necessarily. But I used to think that it just mattered so much and that I cared so much about how the Maroons played and if they won as a proud Queenslander myself. But sort of mixed feelings because my dad is from New South Wales. He's a Blue. So I did feel bad for him when he was disappointed when they lost as well. And there was a few little arguments every now and then about whether it should have been a knock-on or a forward pass or a penalty or whatever. But yeah, and probably sticking with the rugby league theme, I was really happy to see South Sydney Rabbitohs win the premiership in 2014 because he's a fan and has been a diehard fan of the Rabbits, and I loved watching them play with guys like Greg Inglis playing for them. But when they won the premiership, my dad was stoked, and as a growing up watching him care about each and every moment they played in, that was a big one.
Mate, that's awesome. At Origin every year, it sort of just keeps on getting bigger and better every year. The Origin and the moments and the games just consistently deliver, whether it's close or whether it's not close. There's just moments all the time. So
I just am in awe of their athleticism and their toughness, and just they put their body on the line, their skill level. It blows my mind. Like having played rugby league, but any sport, the things they do, the feats they can achieve on the field in those State of Origin games are unbelievable.
It's almost a sort of a similarity a little bit about getting together for a T20 team, because you don't get together and you have to get together very often, and then it's like, okay, now it's camp.
Yeah.
Now you're playing with each other, and then you produce this amazing sort of big moments. On that point, like you travel around, you play in 2020s, etc., but then coming and meeting your teammates for the first time and not knowing much about them, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's very different. I think, at least in cricket, even though it's a team sport, you're individually performing your skill at any point in time. So it's less about the combinations you have with your teammates, but you need to be able to trust your teammates that you know that they're giving their all in the field when you're bowling, that they're doing what the team needs when they're batting instead of being selfish and batting for their own stats when they're out in the middle, that they're bowling to the team plan and they're not being greedy and just trying to take wickets and not caring about economy rates and those sort of things. So you need to have that trust within the team environment. And I am a bit quieter when I get into a new team. I'm not the outspoken guy who's trying to make jokes and laugh. I don't want to say something that makes me look silly, probably. So I stay quiet and try and get the vibe of the room a bit more and ease my way into it. But it's great to meet new people, and I'm used to doing that, being the younger guy in the team, going into the team and being younger and trying to learn off all those players. But now going to these overseas comps as the overseas professional, I guess it's good, as I'm seen as the guy that the local players then want to learn off, and they want to ask me questions, and it's nice to be able to pass on that knowledge to them when I'm playing in those other comps.
Mate, brilliant. I've got one final question. It's not the final question you'd expect. Most people, or I used to ask, what one piece of advice that you'd pass on to kids. I'm going to ask, what's one piece of advice that you wouldn't pass on to kids?
That I wouldn't pass on to kids. I think we need to give less advice in general during the performance. I think I'd try and refrain from giving advice to kids while they're playing out in the middle. Like you hear parents yelling out from the sideline, or even when kids are training in the nets, the parents will be standing in the nets behind the net, like telling them, do this, do that, get your elbow up, get your shoulder down, move your feet more, whatever it might be. Or they're batting in the middle and they play and miss at one and someone yells out, keep your head down, or, watch the ball or whatever. It's just, there's so many unnecessary bits of advice that are given when people are playing and performing. So I think once the game starts, once the performance starts, it needs to be just trust, and whatever happens from there. Don't try and over control that moment.
Mate, that's a great answer, and I agree 100 wholeheartedly with parents that you're passionate about your children. Of course you are, but getting involved, and maybe even we've seen it in AFL, etc. when it comes to officiating, and not AFL, but like other things where it's a bit overs. So, calm the farm slightly. Sam Heazlett, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard today. Appreciate you coming in, having a chat, talking about your life on and off the field, and also in the future. And I wish you all the best with Perform Cricket and also the Masters of Applied Finance and Physio, wherever things might take you, and also your current cricket endeavours. And look forward to catching up.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
This has been another episode of Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Go back and check out some of the other episodes you might have missed.